So I'm here today with Alina Burke. She is one of our loan officers and branch managers here at North Point Mortgage up in Maine. And today we're going to be asking her some questions about her career as a mortgage professional. So Alina, let's start out with just talking about how you got started in the mortgage industry.
Oh, that was a great time in my life. So many moons ago, I was a part-time realtor and also a full-time insurance agent. And I regularly saw and, spoke with clients that were unfortunately very unsure of the mortgage process, very nervous about the process. Some, in retrospect, I feel were kind of being taken advantage of by some of the local companies and fees and feeling really pushed into a home that they couldn't afford. So I really decided at that point, I want to make a difference. This should never be happening. And I jumped in both feet into the mortgage world, and I've been there ever since.
That's great. So what was the biggest thing that you learned early on in your career as a mortgage loan officer that you wish you had known before you started out?
Okay, the biggest thing I think was that you don't have to work 7 days a week, even though it's a busy market,
Mhm.
but you do need to set aside some personal time for yourself. In addition, you have to have that balance where you're available for your clients because they are looking at homes nights and weekends,
Mhm.
but you really need to also care for yourself. The right people will stay with you, the loyal customers will stay with
Mhm.
you, the loyal realtors will stay with you and know your value, but you also need time to breathe, recharge, and continually learn your trade.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. So what would you say has been the most rewarding part of your career so far?
Definitely sitting in closings, seeing those who've worked so hard to close on their first home, many of which thought they would never be able to do it. Some have taken 3 years, and we stuck together as a team and worked with them on crafting a plan, and their dedication got them into their first home and just so rewarding.
Mhm. Yeah, that's awesome. That's such a big moment for people. So the fact that you get to be such a big part of that, I'm sure is so
Yes.
exciting to see.
Yeah, for sure.
So obviously, we know the housing and mortgage industry is changing so fast. What do you think has been the biggest change that you've seen since you started out in the industry?
Well, going electronic has been a blessing. Everything when I started was, word processor, um, doing everything by hand. I mean, I
Mhm.
used to do 3 page, it then was called a good faith estimate. They're no longer, they're called loan estimates now, but 3 page carbon copy. And if you make any mistakes whatsoever on this large piece of paper with every estimate, you could not change anything. You had to start all over again. I mean, no whiteout, nothing. So, I mean, we were using faxes for things that were the curled up paper that it didn't even save, the paper gets mushy and nothing works. So definitely having an actual computer, going more automated, an e-consent now,
Mhm.
automation, just fantastic. And it has done my fingers a world of good from not typing all day. I'm writing all day long. Now I can type.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure bringing everything, probably not even just the application process, but like researching homes and like
Oh,
all of that. I'm sure bringing all of that digital has made a world of a difference in the industry.
oh yeah, we used to have MLS books that literally you would go in and people would shop with a little thumbnail picture of a house.
Mhm.
And it had like 12 on a page.
Yeah.
And the black and white would come off on my wrists. And I know I sound ancient and I'm not, but it's evolved so much. I can't
Yeah.
even believe that I lived through that part too.
Yeah. All the change. I'm sure it's cool to be able to look back and see just like the major change and
Yeah,
growth in the industry is really neat.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously you've been in the business for a while now and are a branch manager, so you've been super successful at your role. So what has been the most effective way that you've seen to build your client base?
It is to stay in touch with your realtors, your referral partners, let them know that you value them and that you're there for them. And then with every client that you talk to, continuously reach out to them, check in on them, make sure that they know that you're there. It can be a tough process for people if they don't know and they don't feel that someone's in their corner. So being loyal to my clients and my realtors also, they feel cared for, protected, educated, and they refer me to their friends and family and clients. And that is the very best referrals are the very best form. But you have to earn them.
Hmm.
And I really love what I do and I'm very dedicated. So I will go the extra mile for people. And if they know that, they are going to refer you to the people that they care about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, what is your biggest piece of advice for someone just starting out in the industry?
Oh, definitely be consistent, have a plan. Every day, doesn't matter what day of the week it is, if that every day you reach out and touch your clients and your referral partners. So, several hours a day. On Monday, I will call one group. Tuesday, I'll call another group. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You've got to stay in touch. You've got to have a plan and you've got to be committed to the plan.
Mhm.
Because anybody can take a loan application and never contact the person back. Like, here's your pre-approval letter. Just call me when you need me. That's not, we don't earn our loans by doing that.
Yeah.
So, we really need to earn their trust and you need to be consistent. And, there's always a big shiny object that you may like, you might be like, hey, my friends are going to the beach. Well, this is your business. You can go to
Mhm.
the beach, but
Yeah.
not on days that you've committed to your business. And it's
Mhm.
it's really important.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. That's great advice. So obviously the past few years have been crazy in the market with real estate and mortgages ever,
yeah,
kind of since 2020. So how do you stay motivated through the craziness, through the ups and downs, through the slow periods that tend quickly turn into fast periods? How do
right.
you just like stay motivated and stay like on your game through those times?
Yeah. I am and have always been a continual learner. I love learning. I love getting other perspectives. I seek training. I'm part of a national mastermind group and we brainstorm with each other and we get excited for each other. Focused on social media, particularly with our wonderful marketing team that I know you work really hard on.
Mhm.
My podcasts, I love doing podcasts. Reaching out to realtors, past clients, checking in. You just have to be engaged. You really need to be engaged. And, my motivation comes from learning and from others. And you sometimes you got to look for it, especially if
Mhm.
it's a slow period. But if you commit to yourself that you are going to, find some self-motivation and find projects and training, you don't get bored.
Yeah.
That's for
Mhm.
sure. Yeah, you got to stick to your trade.
Yeah, absolutely. Taking that time to invest during those slow periods when you might not have as many loans, but if you're investing in that education and those relationships, then that's going to pay off when things do get busy again. You do have more of those business opportunities.
Yes, 100%.
So obviously you work with homeowners of, from first-time home buyers to people, buying second, third vacation homes, all of that. So what do you take any approaches differently from first-time home buyers versus experienced home buyers? What does that look like for you?
So it's funny you asked that because I was asked that about a month ago, and I very quickly, it was an easy answer for me because I take the process, it's very similar for me, actually. I
Mm.
never assume experienced buyers know the process, or even, that's what they're having us do for them. So it can be confusing whether it's your first, second, third, fourth home. I mean, I've worked with people that bought the last time when I was first in the business and everything was paper,
Mhm.
So it can be confusing. And I want to be sure that my clients are comfortable all the way through the process, but you can never assume that all clients, even very experienced ones, don't need guidance.
Mhm.
So I lay it out, and if they come back and say, "Hey, you know what, Alina, you don't have to give us as much detail on that. We're fine," then that's great. But I don't assume that they're fine. So
Mhm.
I kind of nurture both.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So, kind of going off of that, especially I know with like first-time home buyers, younger home buyers, the process of buying a home can be very overwhelming. I know
Mhm.
myself when I bought my first house a couple years ago, I had no clue what I was doing, and just the whole process was very overwhelming. So, what do you do to nurture your relationship with those clients and to build trust, and just help walk them through that, especially, yeah, that first-time home buyer?
Right. So it goes right back to regular check-ins.
Hmm.
Don't assume that they're okay because they
Yeah.
haven't called you. We need to reach out. I ask, weekly and sometimes multiple times during the week, depending on what's happening, how I can help, how they are feeling about the process. Are they confused about any of the documents? I don't just have them sent and say, hey, e-sign this. I can't move forward till you e-sign this. That's not taking care of the client.
Hmm.
So I call them, do you understand everything you're signing? Many of the times I like face-to-face meetings. So whenever possible, I like to meet with them at the office or even a coffee shop, what works for them, because I can read their body changes and their eyes and determine maybe they're not feeling as confident as they should or I want them to. Maybe they're confused. So I just nurturing them in that process. And I also remind them that they're very near their finish line because
Hmm.
they're excited. And
Yeah.
sometimes they get a little bit of remorse or they're scared. And I remind them that that's really normal. I mean, you're buying a house.
Mhm.
So,
Right. Yeah.
but I really want to keep them focused on their getting their goal. And I'm here every step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. So, what
Yeah.
would you say is a big misconception that a lot of people have about mortgages that you hear from people a lot?
Okay, so there's two I hear a lot. One is they feel that if they don't have stellar credit, they don't qualify for a loan. And we also can work with people on, hey, I've got a suggestion. If your credit score is in the low sixes, we can get it up a little bit if you pay down this credit card. I'm not a credit counselor, but we can give them general advice on that.
Mhm.
Um, to help them quickly get that credit score up, which equates to opening, the door to more mortgage products and to better rates in some cases. The other is that if you don't have 20% down, somebody just said this to me yesterday, you cannot get a mortgage. And that is the furthest thing from the truth. But it is something
Mhm.
that people still believe to be true. So
Mhm.
not the case. We can get you as little as 0% down, depending on the process, 3%, 5%. There's so much we can do with people with less than 20%.
Yeah, those are definitely things that I heard before, I started in the process and working in the industry. And yeah, I think something that, yeah, just a lot of people hear and think. So understanding that there's lots of different products out there and the fact that you work with your clients to find the
Mhm.
best products for them is so great and so important.
Yeah, for sure.
So, do you have a story about a favorite mortgage that you've closed or like a favorite story, favorite client you've worked with, that was just
Mhm.
really memorable for you?
I do. I actually have a lot of them, but the one that I think impacted me the most was when Main State Housing came out with their first generation loan, designed for buyers that have never lived in a home that a family member owned, and people that have ever been in foster care. And I had a client that neither he or his wife had lived in a family home, and he was in foster care for most of his life. Never thought he would be able to buy a home of his own. That was just not something that he thought was in his trajectory. And I was able to get him, and they worked really hard to get there. We got them this first generation loan, $10,000 grant, very low rate. Um, Everybody, including the title agent and certainly me, were
Mhm.
in total tears around the closing table.
Mhm.
And they were just so grateful. I've stayed in touch with them, and they have done big things that they never thought that they were even worthy of.
Yeah.
And just seeing them go from the first meeting where they almost didn't want to talk about what they made or their credit, or they felt hopeless,
Mhm.
and going from that to the closing, they were completely transformed, and I was so honored to be part of that. So
Yeah.
honored.
Yeah. That's amazing to be able to be part of such a big change in people's lives. I'm sure is really impactful for you.
Yeah.
All right, so let's switch gears a little bit and talk about North Point Mortgage, our favorite
Mm.
place. Um,
Yes.
so what do you think sets North Point apart from other mortgage lenders?
So at North Point, one of the reasons I came here years ago was that we actively look for the best products to provide our clients. Nothing here is stagnant. From products, investors, training, et cetera, we look to grow every single day. We never assume that we are the best of the best. We strive always, every day, be the best of the best. We want to serve our clients very, very well. That's top top for us. We're also a really cohesive team and we love working together. I mean, our everybody from loan opening, our processors, our the closers, everybody in between, their focus every day is to get clients what they need, take care of them, the best products, we want to be the best experience and we're working hard at that every single day.
Mhm.
So it is just really refreshing to work here.
Yeah,
Very refreshing. So
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is. The camaraderie and the teamwork from, yeah, the loan officers to all the ops people, it's and
Mhm.
even, the top management. It's I think makes a big difference and has been so impactful here.
Very true. Very true.
So, what would you say is the biggest thing that differentiates you from a lot of other loan officers in the market?
Um, well, I would say one is my experience. I've been doing it for a very long time. And I'm constantly, like I said, training. I'm on masterminds. I'm always looking for how I can serve somebody even better every single day. When I'm grateful for any client I can talk to, I wake up in the morning energized to see how I can make a difference in somebody's life and constantly looking for new products with our teams that might better serve a client versus another. You can't take this role for granted. It's an honor, it's a
Mhm,
pleasure, and it's what drives me every single day. I treat people as if they're my own family. I treat people's best interests as I would my children, and we owe that to people. And
mhm.
it's part of who I am.
Yeah.
So it's really just such an honor. I mean, I can't imagine any other job, though I had different
Mhm.
ideas late, in my when I was early on in life, but
Mhm.
I can't imagine doing anything different and doing it anywhere else.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. So, are there any specific trends in the mortgage industry now that you're finding really interesting that you're kind of keeping an eye on to see where they go?
Not necessarily a trend, but the changes in the rates, it's fascinating. I
Mhm.
mean, I'm definitely a rate watcher.
Yeah.
But I still see, I guess this could be considered more of a trend. I do see people that obviously everybody thinks that they want the lowest rate. Well, I get that. That
Mhm,
makes sense. But what you see online is generally a teaser rate. It includes, there's so much more to a rate. And
mhm,
generally, what we're finding is the very lowest rate, and we have some of the best rates out there, but the lowest rate is sometimes the most expensive
mm,
because there's things that either service, you're sacrificing service, they're charging points and fees to get that rate. The closing doesn't go smoothly. You could lose the house
mm,
because you're going just based off rate and not service. And service is more important even than the final number at the rate. So I'm seeing the trends where people go online and they send me, hey, you know, 1-800 online mortgage is offering me this, and when you break it down, it's like, well, did you realize that you're also paying, $10,000 in points to get that rate? And
mm,
you can't reach them Monday through Friday only. That's the only times you can
yeah,
reach them. Um, so definitely rates for me. Rates
mhm,
where they're going, the perceptions people have of them. I find it fascinating,
yeah.
honestly. Yeah.
And where do you think, or what do you think the mortgage industry is going to look like 5 years from now?
Have far more products. It just as a whole, everyone, and particularly North Point, because we're always striving, as I mentioned, for better, more, more options for our clients. But I do think that you're going to see an evolution in rates and how they're structured potentially, but also we're going to see more what we call accessory dwelling units, where people are starting to build a unit on top of a garage, for example, and they're getting some rental income from that. We're finding more families, more generational situations where families want to do more living together again. And we've got so many products for that.
Mm,
So I think we'll still continue to see more construction, newer homes. We need inventory. So curious to see where the inventory goes.
mm,
That's a big one.
yeah, absolutely. All right, so we're going to transition now to some more rapid fire questions. So here we
Got it.
go. Um,
Yay.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Mm, I think a lot of mortgage officers run on coffee. Lots of
Lots of coffee.
coffee. All right, let's see. What was the first concert you ever went to?
38 special. And I think Loverboy was actually also there.
Okay, fun. What is one mortgage term that you'd love to erase from people's vocabulary?
Find. Instead of declined, it is we will work together to get you to accepted. So it's a not now, but it will be your time. I don't like the word declined.
That's great. I love that. What is your dream vacation spot?
Oh, Belize. I need to go to Belize.
That's a good one. What
Yeah.
is the most used app on your phone?
Outlook, wherever I am, checking emails, making sure clients are okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you weren't a loan officer, what would you be doing?
Oh my gosh, that's so funny you say that because I mentioned this earlier. I always wanted to be a TV news broadcaster, but with the news now, I'm thinking maybe I don't. Maybe that was probably a good thing I
True.
didn't do that. But yeah, I
Yeah.
always wanted to do that. I have no idea why. Yeah.
Early bird or night owl?
So that's a little bit of both. During the week, I am an early bird. I go to bed early. During the weekends, I'm more of a night owl.
Okay, that makes sense. What is your favorite way to unwind after a long day?
Oh, I love to walk the neighborhood with my little rescue dog, Brandy. And then before bed, I love to journal or put my headset on and listen to some great manifestation stuff.
Hmm, that's awesome. What is one thing people would be surprised to learn about you?
So before I could drive, I had to help my dad and my sister did build our very own international scouts, which I wish I still had because now they are some of the most popular, expensive vehicles. And yeah, so I helped build cars with my dad.
That's awesome. Yeah, never would have thought that about you. That's awesome. Is there a motto or quote that you live by?
Yes, several, but miracles happen to those who believe. And I also try to remind people of that when they're in the mortgage process.
Yeah. And what is your biggest pet peeve during the loan process?
Oh, I love my borrowers, but when they're not responsive and I need something or the processor needs something to get them to closing, and we're like, you do know you're buying a house, right? Like
Mhm.
we need that pay stub. We need that W-2.
Yeah.
And the other, I know it's you asked one, but the other is when something gets delayed and we will never say, we can't get this closed on time because we're not getting what we need from the borrower or any of the parties in the transaction. So the assumption is always it's the lender's fault, when
Mm.
generally it's not, just so you
Yeah.
know.
The blame always falls on you, probably,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
it's true. It's
Yeah.
true. I got big shoulders, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all my questions. Thank you so much, Alina.
Thank you. And thank you for all you do as well. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
you.
Absolutely.
Thanks.